thank you for joining us today for another episode of In Conversation With. This is a series where we highlight individuals and communities we're inspired by, and today I have the pleasure of chatting with Eunice. She is the founder of HiVi, an educational platform that guides, informs, and welcomes everyone from all walks of life into the cannabis space. So without further ado, hi Eunice!
How are you? You look beautiful.
You do too, radiating.
No, not at all. I love your little nook. Like it's like the perfect little setup. You've got your neutral, you've got the orchid moment, like everything's looking perfect.
Thank you, thank you. Well, thank you for joining us today. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Do you hear the garbage can at all on your end?
I don't, but do you hear the construction going on here?
No, no, I don't.
So I was really excited for our conversation today because you and I both come from a fashion background. It's so different, like fashion and then like deep diving into the cannabis space. It like still gives me the chills every time I think about Fashion Week and how stressful everything was leading up to that week.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, as you and I both know, fashion and cannabis are like two different worlds, right?
Yes.
Um, but I have to really credit my life and my lifestyle in the fashion space for introducing me to cannabis. But yeah, definitely fashion was a different change. It was a different pace of life. I was also living in New York at the time, so it was on hyper speed. I feel like
Yes.
I enjoyed being out, being active, working, playing, doing all the things at once, and actually did not prioritize rest or self-care. Not a bad thing, I think, at the time, because I enjoyed and I was having so much fun doing it. But definitely different. What was your experience like?
I felt like it was very fast paced and I was like the cool kids, but like I didn't want to be a cool kid.
Yeah.
It felt like girls' night out, but like on, right?
Yeah, I do love the energy of the city. I loved going out with my girlfriends. You know, there was always something to do,
Yeah.
party to go to, a new drink to be had, or a new spot in town. That energy was so fun. So
It
I think of it fondly. I mean, I think that living in LA now has changed also just my pace. But definitely love to rally and enjoy that. I'm actually looking forward to going to New York in a couple months. So, you know, I'll be back in that space.
yes.
More intention and more mind. I think more a clearer mind, of course.
So, like, I know you were like at Vogue in New York. Would you be able to share like a secret or about working there or about Anna? Because I've been dying to know.
Yeah. You know what? I think that living and working in that Vogue space it's everything you dreamed of and also completely different from what you might expect to all at the same time. The experience was what you made of it. I mean, it was definitely way more structured than the Cali cool laid back vibe that I have now, where I'm currently dressed in, you know, sweats and thriving in that. We were always way more buttoned up, ready for a formal meeting whenever possible. We were wearing heels all the time, and running around in them too. So, you know, I can never imagine doing that now, but certainly it was running down the halls back then.
Oh my gosh, speaking of heels, I almost died because I tripped on a pothole and like fell into the street. I had like a gash right here.
Oh, I've had that experience, but actually it was with sneakers, so I can't. What does that say about me? But yeah, like in New York, we were running around in heels, running up and down subway landings. We
Yeah,
were, you know, crossing the street. It like for some reason you're like a superhero there.
exactly. And here it's like not that. It's like so calm and relaxing.
Yeah, I mean, I started a sneaker company
Yeah.
before starting HiVi because I really needed a comfortable shoe option in New York. But you know, now, yeah, it's sneakers and the occasional heel for me.
The two industries, fashion and cannabis, they're like so far apart and have nothing to do with each other. I want to hear your story on like how this industry switch happened.
Yeah. So as I like mentioned previously, fashion was what led me to discover cannabis. And I don't want to say it was the fashion industry itself, but it was my lifestyle,
Yeah.
right? Living in that role, living in New York. I was always moving. I was also actually, while working in fashion, had also started a sneaker line. And so I was doing two full-time jobs essentially at the same time. And because one was on West Coast time, I mean, like one was on US time and one was in Asia time, I essentially could work and function two roles without ever having to sleep. And so I started developing some serious sleep issues, was always stressed, was always feeling some severe anxiety, and I needed to find some relief for myself. Um, and at that time, I didn't know anything about cannabis. I didn't smoke a joint or anything in college or high school. I subscribed to the stigma, went through the DARE program. Um, and it wasn't until I started Googling and figuring out that CBD and THC were actually compounds that could be beneficial for my mental health and well-being that I started to rethink what I thought I knew about cannabis,
Yeah.
unlearning what I thought I knew, and discovering it for myself. And the discovery period was actually quite daunting. There were really bad experiences, moments where I wasn't really feeling great about going to a dispensary or getting weed from a dealer. It all felt very sketchy. The whole thing just didn't feel right for me, yet I was doing it because I was feeling better. And I felt that kind of didn't play into each other, and I was wondering why. And I think that was really what sparked my interest in digging deeper into this industry and how this industry serves women like me, and figuring out a way to find a solution to fix that,
Yeah.
so that people wouldn't have to deal with and experience cannabis in the way that I did, but actually could adopt cannabis in the way we adopt other things like food or beverage or beauty or wellness. So that was really what brought me into the cannabis industry.
That's great. Like being able to build this educational platform that's for women and like for everyone, and just like giving such a positive and almost pure light to it rather than thinking of it as like a taboo or something. Because, like, for me, when I first associated like CBD, I still thought, okay, CBD is still equivalent to like smoking weed for me in my, because I'm like a goody two shoes. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that. But then now, like, after like self education and like learning by myself, I thought, oh, this is okay, and how like it's beneficial for me and it's not bad.
Yeah, I think you and I come from very similar paths where we've had to shed this stigma and
Yeah.
had to feel comfortable with the fact that this is something that could be beneficial for us, and then go through the process of figuring out, like you said, self-educating to figure out how to even adopt it for ourselves. And there cannabis is obviously one plant, but it's not one size fits all,
Yes.
and it comes in so many forms. Like if you're not open to smoking, you don't have to smoke it, right? You can ingest it, you can use it topically, you can use it sublingually. There's so many ways, and this plant is so dynamic in the way it can serve people that the education is so important. And once that education is set, I think it kind of opens up your possibilities that there are natural options to heal and feel better versus just immediately reaching for like pharma or over the counter, which I don't disagree with. I think that they work as well. But for those of us who are looking for natural options, cannabis certainly is one of the best options versus something we should shun just because it was illegal in the past
Yeah.
or treated as a stoner drug or whatever.
Yeah. So, like, you created this destination hub that's for all things cannabis. Can you tell me more about HiVi and what your core values are when it comes to sharing education, building community, and product discovery?
Yeah. So, HiVi, when I started it, obviously it's short for high vibration. So, it's all about us all kind of elevating our frequency and vibrating on this higher level together. It's about feeling better. It's about being our best selves, right? And I think that, when I started this, the whole motivation around it was because I had experienced how cannabis can help me feel better, and I wanted others to feel the same as well. And I wanted to lead and build a company that is efficient, right? Obviously, we're a tech-enabled company and we're trying to make this a very virtual, fast, easy, and accessible experience. But we also wanted to lead it with our hearts, wanted to make sure that besides being accurate and credible from an education standpoint, we're welcoming you into this potentially intimidating and stigmatized space
Yeah.
with the sense that cannabis consumers look and feel like you and me. It's not only for stoners or men, and that we are using it to feel better on a multitude of levels, whether it's for anxiety or for sleep or for creativity, better skin. Or even better sex, whatever it may be, cannabis is an option, and we're trying to provide that in a credible and trustworthy way, because we know as savvy women, we're not just going to trust anything we read on the internet.
Yeah.
So, we've brought on a medical advisor. Dr. Chin is also a woman of color who's been in this space as a physician for 15 years. We really care a lot about credibility. And we care a lot about representation, right? I think that the fact that I'm a woman of color, my medical advisor is a woman of color, we're trying to make sure that we're also setting the stage for change in this industry. We work with over 250 brands on our website, and we want to make sure that we're representing a very beautiful and diverse portrait of the right founders and right brands in the space. We know that that's a priority for our audience and our users. We're trying to be conscious and we're trying to support the right brands and consume the right products. So it's about curating and making sure that we're inclusive and as representative of what's really out there as possible. So yeah, I'd say, I kind of rambled on there, but our value pillars really are being inclusive and equitable,
Yeah.
um, being, that of the highest standard in however way we present ourselves or our education or our guidance, and then being heart led. I try to be an authentic, kind person and try to be there and be that leader for HiVi to be the same. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, like for cannabis, it's always been such a like male dominant field. So
Mhm.
for you to be able to create a site that is like so much lighter and like more open to people. So like for a new user, like let's say like I'm new and I go onto your site, it doesn't look scary or intimidating. I can just go on and click, oh, I want something calming and topical. So I could just click it and
Yeah.
I find everything that I want.
Yeah. I'm glad you kind of took our site for a spin and got to experience that. And hopefully, we're actually relaunching in the summer so that everything becomes a lot more interactive. We'll have a personalized recommendations quiz. So essentially you won't even need to do the searching yourself. You'll be able to share a little bit about yourself and your goals with us, and we'll tell you, oh, here is that calming face mask we recommend from Kana, maybe. This sublingual for you to ease into the night for rest and relaxation. So we're really excited about that new feature. We've been putting a lot of work and hours into it. So yeah, hopefully it helps.
That's great. Is that part of the concierge system that you mentioned before?
Yeah. So, from day one, for me, this idea obviously came from my personal experience, but my goal was like, how can I make sure anyone else adopting cannabis doesn't have to go through what I went through of, a lot of guinea pig testing, a lot of bad highs, a lot of, questions and feeling dissatisfied with my experiences with this plant. It's in cannabis, for cannabis, it's such a stigmatized plant that we hear these stories all the time of somebody who's had a bad edibles experience, like they had a weed brownie, they don't know where it came from or what's in it, but they had it wasn't great, and then they're turned off to cannabis forever, right? And I think that it's unfortunate because just discounting or dismissing something on one experience where it comes from an uneducated space can be a huge disservice to your well-being. And so our concierge is essentially that. We're trying to kind of guide you through it, guide you specifically through the experience by understanding you and your goals, and using our science-backed algorithm to provide you with products that are the best fit for you based on the product formulations. There's a lot of science that goes into cannabinoid and ingredient ratios and how that affects what you're going like looking to feel. And one product isn't necessarily the best for sleep, whereas it could be great for anxiety. There's a lot of complexity with this plant, and we can talk to you about it day and night. I'd love to, but honestly, some people don't care or don't have the time and don't have the bandwidth, right? They
Yeah.
just want to feel better. And so how do I get you from goal A to point B faster and efficiently, right? We also don't have money to waste or time to waste anymore. We're all booked and busy and doing things. And, if I can provide a very easy way to help you on your wellness journey, I'm going to build it. So that's really what the Cannabis Concierge is. And we're excited to unveil it very soon.
I'm excited to test it out myself.
Oh, yeah, especially you mentioned you're like, I mean, obviously you're familiar with CBD,
Yeah.
but you're kind of a cannabis newbie too.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you. I didn't smoke my first joint until I was 30. Oh, I fully didn't understand it and had a very different opinion about it because of how we're conditioned and what we're told, right?
Yes.
We know better now to go beyond what is fed to us and actually go after what the truth is. And here, HiVi is really here to kind of unveil it on your terms, right? So
Yes.
you're empowered to take that information and do what you will with it. Yeah.
That's great. I'm so excited for what's next for HiVi, and I thank you for joining me today for this conversation with us. It's been
Yeah.
such a treat. We've been talking about it for so long, so it's great to have you on.
Oh, I was so looking forward to this. It's like the highlight of my day. Obviously, wonderful to see you and your shining face. And yeah, excited to follow along on Kana's journey. Obviously, so excited to support Kana on our site. Truly a leader in really the beauty space. Since
Thank you. It means so much.
yeah, big fan. So excited to see everything that you all dream up and here to support it.
Thank you. Well, I hope you have a wonderful week and we'll see each other soon. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.